Hi everybody, my name is Valentina Pereyra. I'm a Ph.D. student at Kansas State University working with Ignatius and Ph.D. And today I will be conducting a short workshop on initial data science using RStudio. I want to start by recalling the scientific method and to see where we place RStudio and data science on this workflow. So usually we start first by defining a question we want to answer. And with that question, we usually define some objectives. After that, we follow to state a hypothesis, so a possible answer to our question. And based on that, we usually follow experimental design to address those objectives and that initial question that we had. And in this experimental design usually takes the form of a field trial in agriculture. And that's the stage where we make a protocol, make a field trial and collect measurements that we later put in a sort of a spreadsheet in our computer, and we then obtain the final data set. After that, we follow our data analysis step, and this is where we will be most interested today. Is the stage where we transform those numbers into knowledge for decision making. Once we did our analysis, we can draw some results, conclusions, implications, and future research that could be done. And this is the stage where we should communicate our research. So focusing on the data analysis step, it's where we will use RStudio the most. We use RStudio in all the stages to make questions or to draw insights, to design experiments, and to communicate. But to keep it simple today, let's focus on the data analysis step. So going a little bit deeper in what is data science. Data science can be defined as a multidisciplinary field that involves knowledge on mathematics, statistics, programming, and multiple techniques. And the main goal is to extract insights from numbers or gain knowledge from that data that we collected. It has some predefined steps that can vary a bit, but usually those could be data collection, data cleaning. Data cleaning is always to transform raw data into a tidy format that we will see in a little bit. Then we will usually do data analysis and data visualization, always going back and forward, and we will run our models and communicate our research. So again, the main goal with these tools is to uncover patterns, trends, and relationships to always support data-driven decisions and solve problems in the real world. So let's get going a little bit into what is R. But before, I want to remind you that every person that works with R today was once a complete beginner. I think at the beginning it seems a little bit overwhelming, the environment of R and how to work with it. But everybody didn't know what was it at some point. And it's a software that you learn a little bit different than the rest. It's a software that you learn by doing, so you can read and view as many workshops as you want, but you will learn by doing and practicing mostly. We can think of R as an environment for statistical computing and graphics. It has two main components, R and RStudio. R is a programming language that runs computations, and RStudio is an integrated environment that will help us to work with that R programming language. We can think of R as the engine of a car. So usually when we use a car, we don't work with the engine, just mechanics do. It's a more complex and not intuitive thing to do. But we use instead the dashboard of our car, and this is our RStudio. It's the dashboard, it's the interface that we're gonna use to work. And I'm mentioning this because we will always open RStudio and never open R, just to keep in mind. Here you are seeing these spreadsheets. I will be providing them throughout the presentation. Those are public in the R repositories, and they have a lot of information to guide you through each of the uses of R. In this case, this is a cheat sheet of RStudio, and I recommend you reading it. You can later click it, and it's linked to the HTML file in the web browser. So why we use RStudio? Why we use RStudio and not Excel, maybe like people maybe used to do in the past? So just to get you introduced, RStudio is really powerful for data analysis, for statistics, and for visualization. And a really important feature that you will never get tired of seeing is the replicability and the transparency. Why replicability? Because everything that you will do in R, since you import your raw data and you clean it, you transform it, you visualize it, you do the analysis, it will always be written in code and you can trace every step that you did. So this is replicable and transparent at the same time because anybody can see those steps that you did. And following that philosophy, we use R Markdown. R Markdown is our script editor where we will work typing in commands, running and doing all the work. And it's powerful because it combines data with chunks of R code, and you can also add explanations into a single document. You can then knit that document and export it in an HTML, PDF, Word document, etc. that will contain your explanations, the code, and the output. And we will see in a bit what is R Markdown. So, having a visualization of RStudio to get us started, this is how it looks when you open RStudio, and let's check those parts. The console pane is where you can inspect objects and you can enter in commands and run, and they will display right there. You can test a function or also get help. We will see later how you can get help there. We have our Files tab. This is when we create a project in R. The directory of the project is going to appear there with all the files. And you can also see the path that we're working on right above the console pane. But you can also see there we have some other tabs that are called plots, packages, help, viewer. Those are also helpful while we're working. We can see them later. R Markdown is right there. It's our script editor. Is where we will work mostly, or is where our work gonna be written and saved to file when we save our project. The environment. While we work in R, we will always be creating objects. Those objects gonna contain information like data frames. And once we run them, they are gonna be saved in the environment. And the history keeps track of all the functions or the commands that we enter and we run. Going a little bit further into R Markdown, I'm also providing the cheat sheet here that you can later check, and I really recommend doing that. The explanations there are going to be way better than what I will say here. This is the general looking. At the beginning,